So you have feelings for someone, and you find yourself watching their every gesture, analyzing their words, searching for those subtle hints that maybe, just maybe, they feel the same way about you. The heart, in all its complexity, speaks a language that's often whispered rather than shouted, communicated through glances rather than grand declarations. Today, we're going to explore 10 silent signs that reveal when someone has truly given you their heart, those beautiful, almost imperceptible signals that psychology tells us indicate deep emotional investment. Love is rarely announced with fanfare. Instead, it reveals itself through the quiet moments, the unconscious behaviors, the small acts that speak volumes about what's happening beneath the surface. These signs aren't just romantic folklore, they're rooted in psychological research about attachment, attraction, and the fascinating ways our minds and bodies respond when we've found someone who matters deeply to us. Sign 1. They remember the details you've forgotten about yourself. When someone has truly given you their heart, their mind becomes a careful curator of everything about you. They remember that you mentioned loving the smell of rain during a conversation 3 weeks ago, or that you prefer your coffee with just a hint of cinnamon. This isn't just good memory, it's what psychologists call selective attention at its most devoted level. The human brain processes thousands of pieces of information daily. But when we're emotionally invested in someone, our neural pathways prioritize information about them above almost everything else. They're not just listening to your words, they're collecting pieces of who you are, storing them like fragile treasures in the vault of their consciousness. Sign 2. Their body language mirrors yours without conscious effort. Watch carefully the next time you're together, because their body will tell a story their words might not yet be ready to share. When someone has given you their heart, they unconsciously begin to synchronize with your physical presence. They lean in when you lean in, cross their legs when you do, match your speaking pace without realizing it. This phenomenon, called behavioral mimicry, happens when our subconscious mind seeks connection and harmony with someone we're deeply drawn to. It's the body's way of saying, I want to be close to you. I want to understand you. I want to be in tune with everything about you. Sign 3. They create inside jokes and shared references that belong only to you both. Love builds its own private language, and when someone has given you their heart, they become a co-architect of this intimate vocabulary. They reference conversations from weeks ago, create nicknames that make sense only in the context of your shared experiences. Laugh at things that would seem meaningless to anyone else. This psychological phenomenon stems from our deep need for belonging and exclusivity in relationships. By creating these verbal treasures that exist only between you two, they're essentially building a secret world where you're the only other resident. Sign 4. They seek your opinion before making decisions, even small ones. When someone's heart belongs to you, your voice becomes an essential part of their internal dialogue. They ask what you think about their new haircut, whether you like the restaurant they're considering, how you feel about decisions that technically have nothing to do with you. This behavior indicates that you've become integrated into their decision-making process at a fundamental level. Psychology tells us that when we deeply value someone, we begin to view our choices through the lens of how they might affect or be perceived by that person. Your opinion doesn't just matter to them. It has become part of how they navigate the world. Sign 5. They remember your schedule better than you do. There's something profoundly intimate about someone knowing the rhythm of your days. When someone has given you their heart, they become attuned to the patterns of your life with remarkable precision. They know you have that important meeting on Thursday. Remember that you're visiting your parents this weekend? Ask how your yoga class went before you even mention it. This level of awareness goes beyond casual interest. It represents what psychologists call cognitive investment, where someone's mental energy is consistently allocated to tracking and caring about the details of your existence. Sign 6. They share their vulnerabilities and authentic self with you. Perhaps the most telling sign of all is when someone begins to lower the carefully constructed walls that protect their inner world. They tell you about their childhood fears, share embarrassing stories, admit to dreams they've never spoken aloud. This psychological opening, what researchers call self-disclosure, is one of the strongest indicators of emotional attachment. When someone trusts you with their authentic self, the parts they keep hidden from the world, they're essentially saying that you've become safe harbor for their heart. Sign 7. They notice changes in your mood that others miss entirely. Love develops its own emotional radar system. And when someone has given you their heart, they become extraordinarily sensitive to your emotional fluctuations. They can tell when you're having an off day before you said a word. Notice when something is bothering you, despite your best efforts to hide it. Sense your happiness or sadness through the most subtle changes in your energy. This heightened emotional awareness occurs because their emotional well-being has become intrinsically connected to yours. Their heart has learned to beat in rhythm with your feelings. Sign 8. They make future plans that naturally include you. Listen carefully to how they speak about tomorrow, next month, next year, because when someone's heart belongs to you, their future begins to reshape itself around your presence. They mention concerts they want to attend with you months from now, talk about trips they'd love to take together, make casual references to events that assume your continued presence in their life. This forward-thinking inclusion isn't just optimism. It's psychological evidence that you've become an integral part of how they envision their world unfolding. Sign 9. They defend you even when you're not there to hear it. True devotion reveals itself not in grand public gestures, but in the quiet moments when you're not present to witness their loyalty. When someone has given you their heart, they become your advocate in spaces you'll never know about. They speak positively about you to others, defend your character when someone makes an offhand comment, share stories that paint you in a beautiful light. This protective instinct emerges from what psychologists call pair bonding, where someone begins to view your reputation and well-being as extensions of their own. Sign 10. They find excuses to extend time with you, even when the official reason for being together has ended. Watch what happens when your planned activity concludes, because someone who has given you their heart will unconsciously seek reasons to stretch those moments together. They suggest getting coffee after the movie ends, walk more slowly when you're heading to your cars, ask just one more question to keep the conversation alive. This time extension behavior reveals that being in your presence has become inherently rewarding to them, a psychological state where proximity to you generates feelings of contentment and joy that they're reluctant to end. The beautiful truth about these signs is that they emerge naturally, without force or pretense, when genuine feeling exists. They're the heart's way of speaking its truth through action rather than words, creating a silent symphony of connection that reveals itself to those who know how to listen. These behaviors aren't conscious strategies or manipulations. They're the authentic expressions of a heart that has found its home in another person. Remember, love is rarely about the grand gestures we see in movies. More often, it's found in these quiet consistencies, these gentle attentions, these unconscious choices that reveal where someone's heart truly resides. When you recognize these signs, treasure them, because they represent something rare and beautiful, the silent language of a heart that has chosen you above all others.